Welcome
Woo.
back to the set of the Business Temple. This is your co-host, Super Alex.
And your co-host Super Ray, ready for the day. What's
Oh,
up, Super Alex? How's it going?
all good, my brother over here in the Western Front. Particularly excited for this episode today. We're going back to the philosophy angle and tying that back into business. We'll let you know very soon. But before we even begin, you know the drill. Smash that like,
Yeah.
subscribe button. Get on our Instagram, our Facebook. Subscribe there as well. Follow us. We are here every single weekend, 9 a.m. PT, 12 p.m. ET. No excuses at all. Oh my God.
Right.
You're about to go to church, man. How are you, Super Ray?
I'm doing fucking fantastic. That's what I
Yes.
like to describe it. It's been a hell of a week, long week. Lots been going on, but we're
That's right.
here, like Alex says, consistent every Saturday to bring you the very best of the best when it comes to marrying philosophy and entrepreneurship. And we're going back to our roots, talking a little bit more about philosophy today. And I can't wait to share everything we have learned and everything we want to marry into entrepreneurship. So let's, you want to get things rolling?
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Unveiling the topic. We are going to talk about Sufism, or what some people call Sufi. And there are lots of lessons on being a Sufi for a corporate professional or an aspiring entrepreneur. We're going to break it down for you a little bit and then talk about some of the one of the practitioners of Sufi. You'd be surprised. Most people, well, I didn't know this. Rumi is actually or was actually practicing Sufi before. So we're gonna
Yeah,
get into that.
I would say, well, we'll get into it. I would say he popularized it in every sense of the
That's
term.
interesting way to say that.
And he is not essentially the founder, but more so the person that brought Sufism to the mainstream and made it known about this practice. And he also made other famous practices in Sufism known, uh, like the dance they do, the twirling dance that they do. He made that very popular as well. So, I mean, we could jump into it and get things rolling.
Yeah, I mean, did you know that Rumi was so he was a 13th century Persian poet, but then Rumi only really got into the radar or awareness of Western culture like about 25 years ago.
I did not know that. No.
Yeah, that was just 25 years ago where we just learned about Rumi, his teachings. I've got a few of his quotes about Sufism and how he lived his life, and I do want to tie that back in entrepreneurship. This is not the first time someone has actually done this. Rumi has been tied to entrepreneurship multiple times, but this is the first time we will be doing it,
Yeah.
and we bringing that big penthouse energy along
Woo!
with it, man.
Sweet. Let's
You
go.
know? All right.
Let's first define Sufism as it has on Wikipedia. I just want to make sure that everybody
Yeah.
here knows exactly what type of section or one not section or type of branch that Sufism is. It is held within the Islamic religion and Islamic space.
That's
So
right.
as Wikipedia has it, it says a mystic is a mystic body of a religious practice found within Islam, which is characterized by a focus of on Islamic purification, spirituality, ritualism, ascetism, and exotericism. Exotericism.
There
And
you go.
it's it has been vastly defined as like Islamic mysticism, and it's associated with more of like the philosophy, more broader sense of understanding when it comes to Islam. Because the way I see it, Sufism is a section of religion, and it's all about love and freedom, and also the way that Rumi describes it, especially a lot of his poetry, is finding love within the divine and finding the love with oneself and as well as the divine. So it's a very interesting religion, and I starting to learn about it. I'm starting to know more about it. So if I honestly, I would start off by saying if I do misstep and talk something that is completely off kilter when it comes to Sufism, please correct me in the comments below. Make sure you
Yes.
just share with us. We're here to communicate and learn from one another. but it's something that we did our research on, and we were gonna best do our best to describe it in the way that we understand it. And most of our my research, at least, was within with Rumi and his philosophy and his way of
Same.
thinking of Sufism, because we understand, and as I learned, there's different parts of and different ways of practice Sufism, not just Rumi's. Rumi's is just a portion of what the religion can be.
Yeah, and the way he practiced it, the way he kind of lived the life of purity, he lived a very, very simple life. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And not only that, but in such a way he let go of a lot of his earthly possessions and earthly desires to pursue that life of simplicity and purity, as you can see from some of his writing. Man, some of his writing was really, it, it had such a timeless effect to Western minds. You know, one of my particular favorites, which I actually didn't even know came from Rumi until over the past few days doing research on it. It goes, "What you seek is also seeking you." I've
Mm,
always believed in that, where if you just go bold in something, mighty forces in the universe will come to your aid. You know, if you're an entrepreneur out there, you're looking to make a great, organization, you're looking to turn your vision into reality, and that part of you is actually also trying to make ends meet to meet you. Can you can you believe
yeah,
that? Like,
I
what you
I
see, it's such a powerful thing, man. Pure
think
fucking magic.
same with you. I was just so surprised of how many teachings and how many things that are rooted into his philosophy and the way that he envisions life and the world. And
Yeah.
one, it's just like you. I mean, that was mind-boggling to know that that's where it came from. And another thing that came from him that was surprising is the finding of inner calmness, knowing that the world outside of you is always going to be chaotic,
Hmm.
knowing that you're just basically a speck of dust. If you were to go away today, the world is going to keep on moving. But that in that understanding, you yourself are finding calmness inside of you. And we're in a day, in a time of a place where everything is going to be chaotic. The
Yeah.
way that we try to find satisfaction is not inward, is always going to be external. The minute we want to get rid of this boredom that we have, we jump onto our phones, watch a video, do all these types of things instead of focusing and meditating and being lost in oneself in that calmness. And I found that really interesting, that that's where it came from. And it's, I mean, there's so much more teachings. And Rumi was a prolific poet because of this is what he believed that the divine person wanted him to do. In his belief, people, once you find the meaning of true happiness and fulfillment, is finding something that you truly enjoy, that you really have a passion. And he says that everybody has a like a sort of purpose within
Yeah.
their heart, and that's what you should follow. And more people are doing less of that and just spinning the wheel of capitalism, spinning the working for somebody else, and not doing exactly what they love doing because they're not finding that within themselves. And that's part of his teachings. He wrote 70,000 poems or something like that. 70,000.
70,000? I did
Yeah,
not
like
know that.
probably even more. And he was devoted into like writing about hurt, about pain, about scars, about love, and
Yeah.
it's a wide spectrum. Um, and to that end, I'll say this: that's why Beyonce named her child Rumi after Rumi, because of his, well, her love for his poetry, and that's where. So
That's an
Rumi is
amazing
her.
fact, bro.
Yeah,
That's seriously such an
yeah.
amazing fact. Like, Beyonce always finds her
She
way
finds her
in
way.
her show. If you've been listening, following us, Beyonce has been quite an inside joke when it comes to our when it comes to the business temple. We just relate her to a lot of things. Especially, I think the first time we introduced Beyonce to that was we talked about time management, and you were like, even Beyonce has 24 hours in a day. It was freaking funny, man. But there you go. You know, Beyonce, Rumi, somehow that's connected. You did it, Super
I'm gonna
Ray.
go as far as to say that she stole one of his quotes for a song. So like,
Uh-huh.
you know the song "Drunken Love." He,
I think so.
Rumi is pretty much the person that kind of personified that notion of being so infatuated, so much in love, so that you feel almost drunk. And this is his quote. It says, "To be
Mm,
drunk with love, for love is all that exists, where is intimacy found, if not in the give and take of love." So it might sound a little familiar. Drunk in
mm-hmm.
love,
Mm-hmm.
we be all night.
That's right.
Oh,
And oh man,
mm,
as you can see, even big celebrities do subscribe to the beliefs that Rumi had. And it's funny that you should talk about what you mentioned earlier, wherein Rumi also talked about heartbreak, pain, being scarred, and all that. And in fact, one of the quotes that I've been seeing since I was a lot younger was, and I didn't know that this was from Rumi until I did the research this week. And the quote goes, "Keep breaking your heart till it opens."
mm,
And it's such a, when you think about it, it's kind of counterintuitive. You know what I mean? That you have to experience all this pain, really, for you to be able to be more empathic, for you to be able to understand yourself, other people more, make sense of everything happening around you. And I feel like in an entrepreneur's journey, that happens quite often. You set really high standards, really high expectations for yourself. And we just got to admit it. A lot of times, you just don't meet those standards or expectations, but you got to keep trying anyway.
yeah.
You got to keep breaking your heart until finally the light can come in. Whether some people, I like to call that or I believe that's like a character arc in any main character's story. You know how they're living a good life and then they have a purpose and all that, but then that purpose will test you. That vision that you have in your head about the great organization you want to build, or turning whatever you have in your mind into reality, that shit will test you. And you got to be absolutely prepared for that, because it will definitely break your heart. Entrepreneurship has broken my heart fucking multiple times, man. But I've been loyal to it, and
Right.
I've reaped a lot of rewards. It's not an easy path.
Yeah.
It really is like an arena. I like to say entrepreneurs, we're fucking gladiators, man. Like one
It's
day in
just
the
a weird
arena,
way
you
of
could
seeing it,
just,
right?
yeah,
It's
you could just
yeah.
freaking be gone from the map, bro. But then at the same time, that one day could be your answer to freedom. Whether
Glory.
whatever freedom means for you, man, financial freedom, success, and all that stuff.
I
That
saw
and
that.
that's entrepreneurship.
I saw that too, Alex, and I was so confused by it. But you made it sound with more sense. It's like it said something along the line: the more wounds you have, the more light you can let in, and that's such
Yeah,
a weird way of looking
it's
at things.
cognitive dissonance,
Yeah.
right? Like, what the heck? Why do you have to? The first thing that came to my mind when I read that was, why do I need to be in a vulnerable state, to
Mhm.
understand more? But then, the more I contemplated on it, the more it did make sense. If you're vulnerable, not only, well, of course, a lot of pain, you'll be susceptible to a lot of pain,
Mhm.
suffering, and all that, but also you'll be susceptible to the good stuff too.
Yeah.
Like letting the light enter you.
Mhm.
And that could mean a lot of things, but for your not so average entrepreneur, where you can find meaning in everything that you do, everything that you read, all the messages that you see in your everyday life, just reading about this can mean such great things, bro. At least for me, what it truly meant was, you keep breaking your heart till it opens. What that truly meant for me as an entrepreneur
Mhm.
is, you just gotta stay loyal to that game.
Yeah.
Stay loyal to that game. And like I said, entrepreneurship has broken my heart like multiple times. But then at the same time, I think of it like a test. I hold a great vision in my mind, And sometimes that vision will test you to make sure and to keep you worthy
Mhm.
of whatever great vision you have in your mind. And the more you're tested, the more it breaks your heart, the more you'll be open to more success, more love, more positivity in your life. And it's just that. It's such
Wow.
a powerful, powerful quote.
Hmm.
And it's so weird because I've been reading that since, like I said, since I was like a lot younger. It must be 10 years I've been reading, seeing this quote floating around on the internet.
Hmm.
But just now did it make sense to me in such a way where I could actually relate to this in terms of my career path.
Yeah, that's what the business temple's all about. Which,
Yep.
yeah, rooting it out. I mean, one
Exactly.
thing that I do think of, uh, Sadhguru, who is a person I've followed for years, and
Mm,
he's an incredible, like, thinker and philosopher. He's, environmentalist as well, and he told a story about how there was this Sufist person that was always being sought after, that people wanted him to
mm,
teach them, and he would always deny them. He would always say, no, you do not
really?
want to learn what I'm trying to teach. You do not want to learn what I'm trying to teach. Until one
Okay.
very, uh, just until one scholar who was very much like, I want to learn, I want to know what you have to teach. Why are you not teaching anyone? It's like,
Yeah.
well, you're not going to want to know what I have to teach. And then he proceeds to hand them a piece of cloth. And by the way, suf and Sufi is, the word suf is wool, and that's
Oh,
where they think they got the name from, because wool is like one of the most simplest piece of garments that you can wear. And
very
he,
humble.
yeah, and he provided them with this piece of wool, a cloth, like a loin cloth, for him to wear,
Hmm.
and then gave him a tin can to wrap around his neck, and he put peppermints inside the tin can, and
Okay.
told him that what I would want you to do is to go into the middle of, let's say, a Times Square, for example, and when everybody's making fun of you, when the kids are making fun of you, people are just looking at you strangely. I want you to give them a piece of the peppermint, and smile, and be grateful, and just in that way show your respect. And then the scholar says,
Yeah.
"No, I'm not going to do that." Then that's what he says. You don't
You don't
know.
want to
You don't
learn
want
what
to
I'm
learn what I
teaching.
want to teach you, because
Oh my God.
because happiness and fulfillment and true love comes from the simplicity of just not being afraid to be who you are, and being open, and being open to whatever may come to you, whether it be criticism, whether it be looks, whether it be whatever it may be. You're out there in the wild with a piece of loincloth, and trying to be grateful to someone that's making fun of you and giving them a peppermint. How many people you think are be willing to do something like that? Not
Not
many.
a lot, bro. Not a lot, man.
No.
And oh my gosh, that was such a good story. Not only do you have to be open to that, to people being an asshole, criticizing you and all that shit, which happens a lot in entrepreneurship, by the way. The moment you step in that arena, go public, you're just open to all of that.
Hmm.
And there's nothing, absolutely nothing you can do about it you
Yeah.
know but be open. And not only that, but what you're trying to get at as well, Ray, be open and just show you love too, man.
Yeah.
You're
And
gonna
then show
try and
your
hate
love
me,
too.
okay? I'm not gonna match that energy with my own hate, my own
Hmm.
anger and shit. That's toxic, I suppose.
Hmm.
But then you gotta show love. You gotta show love, especially at the hardest times like that. You gotta keep your stride. You got criticisms left and right, up and down, public
But
humiliation.
exactly. This is
Entrepreneurs are
why
vulnerable to that.
that's why that really resonated with me, and I think it should resonate with a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
Like, what are you willing to do? What at what stage do you feel that, okay, I've come this far? Are you willing to just strip everything down one point, and then be able to give love back? And then, even with all the criticism, the disdain and everything, are you still able to just go out there with a smile on your face and give people peppermints and shit.
Yeah,
Like that is tough. Not many people are willing
exactly.
to do it. And to the teaching to the teacher, that's makes sense to me. Like, are you need to have someone that's also willing to learn, and you yourself as an entrepreneur need to be willing to learn, to open yourself up, to be more vulnerable, like you said, to just know that this kind of stuff is going to happen, and you need to keep pushing
Comes with
forward.
the territory.
Yeah.
It absolutely comes with the territory. I was so afraid of that. One of my hindrances as an aspiring entrepreneur about 8 years ago was that I knew I would somehow, kind of lose my anonymity.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And like, if you Google up fucking Alex Padron, Ray Martez, like we out there, man.
We out there.
Like
You'll see us.
raw dog in life, bro. Like we are
Yeah.
out there,
My
and
address is out there somewhere too. I
I'm
just make
sure,
sure to,
man. Address, phone number, all this sensitive shit. It's just
yeah, just
out
make sure
there.
you freeze all your credits and stuff before you do
Hmm.
something like this, because you're gonna put yourself out there, and make sure that you have, I guess, separate numbers too, in a sense, because now,
Yes,
like, you can people can call you from, have your number and whatever. It's easy to find. It's not, there's no such thing as privacy anymore in that sense.
yeah.
But I mean, back to entrepreneurship and Sufism.
That's just part of the territory, bro. And quickly going back, I was really scared of that. you know and a
Mm,
lot of it comes from insecurity too, and I'll admit that. Yeah, I'll fucking admit that on air.
yeah,
Like, a lot of it stems from me feeling like I wasn't worthy enough, I wasn't good enough to be the great entrepreneur I wanted to be. And I think if you're gonna put yourself out there, be open to that criticism, be open to public humiliation, because there is a risk, a possibility of that actually happening. You gotta accept the fact that, hey, you know what? If this does happen, I will stay loyal to my business, to my organization, to my vision. Because, like I said, your vision will be out there to test you. People will test you, especially people. they will
yeah,
they will test you a lot. You know, and if you fold, then it's gonna be difficult. You
yeah,
don't give up on your dream. Don't give up on your vision. Always find a way to develop the ability wherein when you look at something, you can find meaningful and eloquent fucking vision in what you're looking at and what you're hearing, which is what we're doing right now with Rumi's quotes. Elevating the poems and relating and marrying it to the current business landscape that we have today. And I think that's what we do in the business temple anyway, man. We just elevate motherfuckers out here, bro. Elevating ourselves too.
and one thing I would say too is, like, whatever business you get into, and if you're an entrepreneur, just make sure that you know that this is something that's in your heart, that you truly believe that it's going to make a difference. Because I've never met an entrepreneur or a business owner that did not truly believe in their cause, did not truly believe in that business.
Yes,
It did not even feel like work to them. It felt like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what my life is all about. This is what I'm going to bring to the world. And that's very difficult for people to find, but it just takes a lot of self reflection. And
it does.
going back to what I said before, it's like, the world is always going to be chaotic. The way that you find calmness and find yourself is by really I meditate your own way. The spinning dance that Sufi made popular, that was his
Mhm.
form of meditation. That was him finding love and calmness with himself by spinning around in circles and circles and
That's
circles.
so
And
crazy, man.
what's funny is, like, the story goes that the reason why he started doing this is because he heard a blacksmith just hitting a anvil over and over again. Like, that was his beat, and then he found that beat and started spinning and created the jockey dance. I think
Hmm.
that's what it's called. And yeah, that was his form of meditation, dancing. If dancing is your thing, you should find that. I went to. I actually, I have a crazy story too.
Yeah.
I went to Turkey. I went to Istanbul, and I saw people doing this. And this is kind of like where most
Interesting.
practitioners of Sufis happens. And I didn't never understood why people were doing that, just like in the middle of the street, just dancing in the circles, dancing in a circle. And I now know, I now know I'm much smarter, like to why they were doing that, and they find and that to them, like that was the true meaning of like happiness, of fulfillment and calmness, instead of looking
It's,
externally where the world may be chaotic,
yes.
looking inward, because
Just
that's the only place
finding your way through the chaos, man.
you only find calm in like inward. Like that's so crazy.
Yeah, a lot of it, especially how you described it, a lot of it is very ironic. Finding peace while spinning around. Giving peppermint to your haters. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's the more I think about that just now, the more difficult I realize how practicing Sufism is.
Mhm.
And Rumi, this 13th century poet, dedicated his entire life to that. And I wouldn't be fucking surprised if till now, 2023, that shit has aged well. That's all this stuff is timeless.
Mhm.
you know and speaking of stories, I want to lay down one more quote for everybody here, and let me know what you think of this one. Right, it's about some stories too, and it goes, don't be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others, unfold your own myth.
Mm.
So the way I think about this when it comes to entrepreneurs, I've been contemplating on this quote all freaking week, trying to make sense of it, trying to marry it to the entrepreneurial landscape that we are so good at here at the Business Temple. My thing is just, when you get into entrepreneurship and you want to enter an industry wherein there are already major players in that game, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't enter it. A
Mm.
lot of people will say, for example, when it comes to coaching, we're both coaches, right? A lot of our listeners are coaches as well. A lot of people would say, coaching is a saturated market. You probably shouldn't do coaching. Everybody fucking does it. Everybody needs a
Mhm.
life coach nowadays. You know what I mean? You could quit your job, take a quick certification course in Udemy for a second, and you're a goddamn life coach.
Yeah.
You know, that's as simple as it can be, and people do that. I'm not trying to hate on them or anything, but what I am trying to say is that just because the market is saturated, you haven't done it yet. The
Hmm.
world hasn't seen your work yet. Don't mind the shit that has happened to others. Don't mind the stories that people have been telling you based on their experience. Learn from it,
Hmm.
but don't live your life in that regard or in that standard. You haven't showed the world what you got, so
I like
show the
that.
world what you fucking got, man.
Yeah.
you know and that's how it made sense to me. I'm
Wow.
not. How do you think about that?
Like,
Don't be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with
mhm,
others. Unfold your
hold your
own
own.
myth.
The way I see it too is also part of like what Rumi's teaching was is look not just looking ahead. Uh, I know it's hard for some people to not just focus on what's going on in the future, but looking at what's right in front of you, and then taking that step, whether it be signing up for a course, whether it be just going online, instead of looking at those people that have already made it, that are in their chapter 10 while you're just starting out your first paragraph.
Hmm.
Take the first step. That's one of the things I usually I took
I love
away from
that.
that when you were talking about it. It's like just taking that first step to get to the top of the stairwell, because if you just look at the stairwell as an impossible achievement, then you're never going to get there. You're never going to achieve greatness, or you're never going to get to a place where you're going to feel successful if you don't just take that first freaking step. You're going to be too scared to go up just because you saw how many stairs there are. But if you
Yeah,
take the first step, take the second, focus on what's in front of you, you'll eventually get there. And I mean, that's something that we're doing here at the Business Temple. Look,
that's right.
we're
One step at a time,
yeah,
man.
one episode at a time here at the Business Temple every week. We are doing things step by step, but we're doing it. We're making our message heard. We're making
We out here.
yeah, we might have one viewer tomorrow, two viewers next week. Next week, it
Hmm.
does. doesn't matter to us. We're just taking those steps to get to where we want to go, and
That's right.
however long it takes, we're gonna be here.
That's right. Oh my gosh, man. That was a good ending to the show.
Hmm.
And then boom, I just want to say this is the Rumi thing, going back to the roots philosophy and all that. It was such a I felt so great doing this episode and just trying to break down some of Rumi's greatest quotes relating
Hmm.
that to entrepreneurship. Hopefully y'all learned a thing or two. Go online. I'm sure Rumi has, there's a lot of content on Rumi.
Hmm.
A lot. I've researched a lot. You can quickly Google how does Rumi relate to entrepreneurship, and so much things will come up. And hopefully y'all gained all this wisdom and insight from us today here at the Business Temple, because oh man, that's what we do every single weekend.
Woo! It's all love here, baby.
That's
Oh,
right.
flame out.
That's right. Oh man, let's flame out. Let's flame out.
Sure to subscribe. Please comment on anything you heard today, whether you liked it, whether you hate it. Just tell us what you think. If you have an idea for another episode, please shoot us a message. We're happy to answer all those messages and follow up on anything you might want to learn or know more about here at the Business Temple. Thank you all so freaking much. And hey, Super Alex.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
this energy, man, like the energy that we share, Super Ray, going into the episode and just putting this positive energy out there, putting this philosophy, our creed of the Business Temple out there, marrying philosophy and business. That's what we do every single weekend. We'll catch y'all at the next one then.
Peace.
Peace.